And welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. And it's Miriam Mia keeping you company with Inspired Afternoons. And I made it my mission this Ramadan to interview people that will inspire us, motivate us, and just get us to think of how we can serve humanity, how we can serve South Africa and everybody in South Africa. So, for whether it's females, males, whether it's the youth, but how people take off their time from their bread and butter issues and from their careers, but not find the time, make the time to serve humanity, to uplift, and to give back, contribute positively to people in our country and also ripple effects of the world over. So I'm speaking now to another such individual. So having made the elusive Forbes 30 under 30 list already, that's a feather on the cap or a topi on the head, another topi on the head. And having recently become a CEO of a media conglomerate, Johannesburg-based entrepreneur Zareef Minty wants to share the knowledge with youth from around the country. So, with this in mind, the youngster has taken it upon himself to address financial literacy among young people in South Africa. With his brainchild, Generational Wealth Education, Zareef is determined to revolutionize South Africa's financial landscape, one that will eventually see financial education integrated into the country's educational curriculum. Financial challenges have long been a prevailing issue among South African youth, but not only youth, I'd say even those that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Enter Zareef Minty, whose relentless passion for financial education has driven him to make a difference in the lives of South African youth. Recognizing that traditional approaches to teaching finance may not resonate with younger audience, Zareef has ingeniously incorporated youthful and engaging elements into generational wealth education. And I want, yes, and he's already made TikTok accounts where he quizzes students and random individuals on general knowledge questions related to money management and finance. So let's just see how he's going to make managing our money or making money exciting and fun. So let's welcome him. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zareef, and welcome to Salam Media Inspired Afternoons.
Assalamu alaikum, Miriam. Thank you so much for having me on your show tonight.
So tell me, the EMS currently, we start EMS at grade 4, and we do EMS until grade 9. And then for those who choose to either do business studies or accounting from 10 to matric, you're saying it's not cutting it. We not, it's the way probably the syllabus is currently in its current form is not working in terms of educating learners towards financial literacy in the real world. Let's put it that way, or equipping them.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, if you're looking at stats in South Africa or anywhere around the world for that matter, but if you're going to zoom in into South Africa, 60% of South Africans are actually in debt at the moment. About 85 to 90% of South Africans have experienced, a moment where, for example, they've actually spent more than they currently earn in any sense. So a lot of people struggle with financial literacy. They struggle with managing their money. And I think it's a huge issue in South Africa. I mean, we've seen, on numerous occasions, we have an unfortunate mindset in South Africa where a lot of people believe in the idea, and it kind of follows through from social media, but also through this perception model. So people will go out and, go and buy really expensive cars, and then within 3 months later, those cars get repossessed. We see that with houses, we see that with cars, we see that with a lifestyle in South Africa. And that obviously needs to change. And it starts from grassroots level. It starts from educational standards. We look at our syllabus in South Africa, and you get an understanding that, I mean, our syllabus has not changed. Angie Muteka has been our Minister of Basic Education for many, many years. And, she's someone that I do have some relationships with. But at the end of the day, I've even been so straightforward about it. It's that we need to change it up. It needs to definitely change up. We need to involve things that are going to be able to make young people, once they do get out of primary school and high school, give them an advantage over people, not only in South Africa, but globally, right? So I think that's the one thing that needs to change. It's not just financial literacy. We can't just speak about financial literacy in isolation. I think we have to talk about many other aspects that need to be developed in South Africa. One of those would be coding. I think coding is something that we are falling behind. Looking at countries like China, looking at a lot of your other countries, especially your IT developed countries, even countries like Rwanda, for example, have emphasized coding in the African continent, and we're still behind when it comes to that. I mean, also looking at various other things. Robotics is available to your very high end schools in South Africa, but the majority of South Africans, the ones who really need to be empowered, are the ones that have never ever seen or heard of robotics in their schooling syllabus. So, that needs to be obviously rectified. But then going down to the most important thing, and that is financial literacy. EMS and business studies only takes you so far. I mean, I did business studies in school. When I came out of school, I mean, I practically didn't know anything when it comes to business. So it doesn't really help. It's just there for checks and balances, but we need to really develop our young people. We need to teach them the importance of saving, investing, new modes of income, multiple sources of income. And, I think it's so important because you look at South Africans today, if a lot of them understood the concept of multiple sources of income, our country would be in a completely different state, regardless of how the state is doing or the government is doing. So I really think it plays such an important role. And I'm looking forward to the growth of generational wealth education, because I do know it's going to be the solution within the next few years, in terms of coming in and providing that solution to be able to make young people learn financial literacy from a very, very young age.
So you're saying basically once you reach 15, 16, everybody should have a side hustle by now, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people should start. If you're looking at in today's time, right, Miriam, if you're looking at people in the US, you look at people in the UK, I mean, YouTube is such a massive concept in the US. I mean, creators on YouTube make a phenomenal amount of money. If you're looking at the revenue share on YouTube, about, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's about 65% or 60% of revenue that whatever's made from advertising on YouTube goes back to the creators. So creators of content or whatever it might be. So these people are actually, earning income that South African CEOs do not even earn. And some of them have started from the age of 3 and 4 years old. I mean, there's a kid about 3 or 4 years ago that was 5 years old, and all he did on his channel was review toys, and
I've
he's actually
seen
the
that,
most.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at his revenue earns more than some of our biggest CEOs in South Africa, in some of your biggest companies in South Africa. So it just comes down to a mindset shift. We're no longer living in a time where we have to follow the normal modes of earning an income. Now you are looking at where people can actually stay at home and earn, multiple sources of income. You've learned that people have, looking at COVID as well, people have really pivoted into new income streams. So we just need to change the mindset in South
So
Africa. It's
where
still
so let me
very.
ask you that question. Where are we falling short? In you say mindset change. So what what is the mindset? Give us an example of how, and then thereafter you have to give us an impression of one of your TikTok videos as well, in terms of a fun way. So you can think about that while you're asking me what is the mindset shift? How should we be
So
looking at things?
yeah, the mindset shift is something that needs to happen. But the mindset that's currently in South Africa it's unfortunate, but it's something that's been built over for many, many years. And it's the system that we're living in. It's literally called the system, right? And the system exists. So unfortunately, and it happens a lot in your smaller communities, your smaller, areas, but it is also still ingrained in our cities as well. So the system works in such a way where you're born, you go to school, you finish off your high school, you either go and get a degree, you start a family, you pass on, and that's the system. No one is being too innovative. No one's going out there and changing society. No one's developing new things, and that's the general mindset of South Africans. And it's unfortunate you do get these one or two individuals that obviously break out of that mold, but we actually taught to be in that system, and that's the model that we actually we believe is the right model, and it's not the right model. That's not the right model at all. I mean, maybe 50 years ago it was the right model, but right now it's definitely not the right model. We see people earning multiple sources of income, like I did mention. So the system needs to change. We need to get rid of that system. Ambition is something that's been starved out of our young people. We're not seeing innovation, we're not seeing ambition, and that comes from giving people the freedom an opportunity to be able to do with their time as they wish. So the freedom of your time is the most important thing. We're living in a system where your time is determined for you. You already know how many hours you have to spend at a primary school and high school. And I mean, there's no problem with doing that, but that's what happens post your high school. So, going to a university, you know how many hours you have to work. You have to work a 9 to 5. So all of these things have been created in a kind of a structure to show people what success should look like, but that's not the correct example of success. So I really think it's something that I want to work on, and I really want to change the way that people look at it in South Africa and the mindset. But going to my TikTok videos, we do a lot of fun stuff on TikTok. And the whole idea is that you want to create an audience or build an audience that resonates, especially with young people. So what we do is we go to different places all around South Africa, be it Cape Town, Durban, Johannesburg. We spent a lot of time in Rosebank, at Wits University, speaking to young people, and we'd go and ask them 5 questions, general knowledge questions, things that are somehow related to money in most cases. And if they get it right, then they'll win, a little bit of cash money here and there. But the whole idea behind it is that we want to be able to create a society of young people that, are actually going out there and wanting to learn forever. You want to have that mindset where you can forever be teachable, or someone that can learn things. So that's a very important model. But at the same time, if you're looking at TikTok, even though we are, interviewing one individual, the other 250,000 people that view it, or the 500,000 or the 700,000 people that view it, are also learning at the same time while watching it. So we are educating a society in a way that's very different to the normal norms of doing it. But, we want to really create a model where we're
So
doing the
what's
stuff
the type?
all
Let's
the
do
time.
a type of question. Yeah, I've got two young people engineering here behind me. What are the questions we can put to them? I'll get you the answers here. What are the questions when you do the TikTok? What do you ask a random young youth?
I need them in front of me, because the whole purpose of what makes it really fun and exciting is the concept of seeing the expressions while they're doing it.
Uh,
Getting
uh,
them to make mistakes as it goes. It's not just about the answer; it's about the experience that you're going through with it.
uh,
So, I mean, we can always do something really fun with you guys at Salam Media very soon. We can even do a little bit of a challenge with you guys. I mean, I'll do one with you as well, Miriam, very soon, and then we can just put it up on TikTok. I'm sure it'll get a lot of views. But the whole idea is exactly that. It's that you want to have that fun content where people can relate to it. And also, if you see your peers going out there and getting involved in stuff like this, it really does encourage more people to watch it. So the model is that we want to create a community. We want to create a community of like-minded individuals that can go out there and understand the value of financial literacy and financial education, but also just to be continually someone who can learn and be willing to learn throughout their lives.
because for me, it's essential. In fact, when I look at the EMS syllabus in that, especially those that are doing business studies in grade 10, 11, and 12, knowledge about the stock market, you should know. You should be able to know how to read shares, the FTSEs, to understand all this. Because even, I mean, I've done university economics at Ecos one at university, and even then it was just theory based. There was nothing in terms of what is the stock market, how can you read for shares, what you're checking, how to study global markets, those graphs you get in that. Never mind that, even just filling forms in a bank and just having those questions there, we learn so much theory that we don't even have practical experiences where a matriculant even struggles to open a bank account for me. and
True,
and
very
that's what
true.
I feel, that in terms of financial literacy, and like you say, a mindset change. And I was thinking, so that mindset change should not only be geared towards the youth, but I think also we need to educate parents. So your 40 and your 50-year-old parents, to say, you know what, you also need to think differently in terms of what you see as success for your child, because your child might not be getting the symbols that you feel, the A's and the B's, because that system is only designed for a certain people who have a certain cognitive inclination as well, and aptitude. But you might have a child who's got a side hustle there, and goes to this place here and buys this, and is a trader and an entrepreneur, and they've already been earning. So, you know what? Support your child. Do this, because this is where your child has the flair. Your child's not going to be an engineer, but your child's going to be an entrepreneur. And already you can see, so value that. Maybe the system doesn't support your child in terms of what they're doing now, but there's no stopping a parent to change that mindset and support the child from now and get that support your child needs for now. I don't know, what do you feel about that in terms of changing mindsets, not just for the younger generation, but the older generation as well, in terms of supporting the children on this
Yeah.
financial journey?
So I do have a lot to say about that, and I think it's such an important topic, and I'm glad that you brought it up. So there's a few points, and I want to go back to something as well. So the thing is that being in the Muslim community, I think there's a lot of benefit to it. I feel like we're so blessed that there's so many of our parents and individuals out there. I mean, personally, my parents were not business people; they were more into the professional space. But there is a lot of parents out there that are into business, they run multiple businesses, and you learn so many skills that you'll never learn in a high school or at a university through the opportunities that come from mentorship, from just even being around those businesses. So that's a huge benefit. I think we need to be smart as individuals and not look at anything outside of learning, consistent learning. I can look at the Jewish model, for example, of how they keep money within a circle for at least it needs to pass, the hands 5 times before it leaves the circle. That's a very smart model. It's something that we should teach more among our own Muslim community and among other communities as well in South Africa, that you need to be able to build up communities and build up structures so that, you are financially strong and sound as well. But you can do that with a group of people together. And I feel like that's such a powerful thing. But I want to touch on the concept of, you speaking about some people feeling as if they might not have the necessary skills because they're not getting A's and B's in school. We're not teaching our kids correctly. Like, you can't expect kids to go out there. They have Netflix, they have TikTok, they have Instagram, they have all these different TV shows. They have football that they watch. They watch the Premier League consistently. They are focused on video content. They love video content. But when we go to schools, they're learning from a book. It doesn't make any sense at all. We're not living in back in the day. We're living in 2024 now. So I think it's important that you incorporate video content in schools, and it's something that I really want to push out there. We have so many success stories in South Africa that we need to speak about, that's going to be able to resonate with young people and motivate them. I look at some of the stuff I've learned at with EMS or even with business studies. I mean, I probably remember 1 or 2% of it, to be honest. Like, I don't remember anything that was in those textbooks, and I don't even plan, or I don't expect anyone to do the same. It's just it's an old traditional way of learning. You learn the skills, but you don't necessarily remember everything, and that's fine, because they're not speaking to an audience that makes sense. We are living in a different time right now. So what I really want to encourage is, we have the likes of Batu, for example, in South Africa, Theo Beloy. The stuff he's done is not celebrated enough in South Africa among our young people. Our young people only find out about him on social media. We need to teach people about these young people in schools. We need to let them know that there's this guy who started up a footwear brand, and Nike wanted to actually buy him out. Nike actually wanted to buy him out, and he actually stood by and continued on with his brand. And today his brand is available in all 9 provinces. He has billboards all around the country. He has multiple stores all around, and that's a success story that we need to speak about. We have multiple of them. We can even speak about a Muslim, Indian girl, for example. We have Huda, I'm saying Huda Beauty, sorry, Switch Beauty. Switch Beauty is a perfect example as well, and how she's built up a business when it comes to the makeup and beauty space. Then we need to also teach our young people about very important concepts. I mean, do we even know what's a unicorn business in South Africa? A lot of people don't know it because we've never experienced it, right? But how do you expect people to go out there and become something if they've never heard of it before? We need to go and show people that, look, in Dubai, for example, where everything comes from other countries, there's one company called Kareem that actually managed to become a unicorn business and got bought over by Uber. And today, that business is incredible, and we need to teach young people so that when they know that there's a Kareem in the UAE, why can't we have a Kareem in South Africa? Why can't we have another business or another app or another?
I think we've lost Zareef. We lost you momentarily. Okay, so the sound is gone. So we'll have to say goodbye and jazakallah to Zareef. Are you there? We have no sound at Zareef. We've lost his sound. So we're gonna. I think there's so much. Zareef, can you hear me? We can't hear you. We're battling there. But what I'm going to do is Jazakallah so much. We can talk a lot, but what I'm going to do on my education, I have educational insight segment here on Salam Media, and I'm going to have you often because there's a lot we can discuss, and I think we'll take it in segments for the future. But Jazakallah for coming on, and we'd like to commend you and salute you for making positive contribution in South African landscape, especially for the youth, much, much needed. And you go well in here. May you continue having a spiritually nourishing and uplifting month of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And that was Zareef Minty, and he made the Forbes top 30 at 30. So we're gonna go for a short break, and then I'm so excited. I think our premiere interview for Salam Media, I'm going to be speaking to Katisha Brown, MEC Finance, Free State Province. And we're sticking with the financial theme, and it's going to be brought to you by Nazir Mohammed Wealth Investment. All this